climbing up on somebody's roof and playing with high voltage equipment, what are the skills that you really need to have to be looking at doing that? It's not something you should do casually.
Yeah, stuff like permitting requirements within the city, how do we make that easier? We're trying to grow the expertise and the capacity of the local marketplace, which is why I think a lot of you guys are here today to get into this industry. We're looking at green jobs. Clearly that is the future, and we don't want Knoxville to be left out of that. Particularly don't want the Knoxville solar potential to be left out of that. So I want to thank you all for coming today. I hope that you will continue to stay engaged with the Solar American Cities project and learn more about the different initiatives that we have going on. And I want to...
Of course, there's a lot of interest in all types of alternative energy now, and has been. It's been growing for a long time. Solar, in particular, is a hot topic. Seems like about every other week the President of the United States is talking about it. So that's even brought it more to a head than it's ever been before. And there's a lot of federal and state and other incentives to get more solar going in. Solar works well. Even back in the days of Thomas Edison and Westinghouse and Warner von Siemens, they all agreed in the end. They believed solar power would be the dominant. And there's more of that than all the rest combined. And so there's a lot of people trying to understand how that they can benefit from the technologies. There's people trying to figure out, well, is there a job in this for me? And so there's a lot of changes happening, and I see a room full of people here that obviously are here interested in solar. We, Big Frog Mountain Corporation, been distributing as a wholesale distributor for the southeastern United States and down in the Caribbean for a number of years. We represent a lot of the manufacturers, including Sharp, which Randy Johnston was supposed to be here from Sharp, but he couldn't make it. I told him I would try to cover for him on that. Sharp is a fantastic company in Tennessee. If you don't know, they're manufacturing those modules over there. There's a lot of other good module manufacturers around, but we distribute for them. And the Unirac, SMA America, SatCon inverters, all these types of products that are actually being written up in these specifications for a lot of these state projects, and are also good products to be used in residential applications as well. We've got big warehouses right down there in Chattanooga, so we can get this equipment on out to you as you need it. On I guess, is there a lot of people here that are contractors or want to be contractors? How many hands? How many contractors are out here? And how many people are wanting to be a contractor? And how many people just want a job? Well, there's, just like in any kind of business, there's all kinds of facets of business. Everybody from somebody having to keep the place clean enough where you're not ashamed to be seen, and to bookkeeping, to answering phones and answering questions and doing marketing, and ultimately some people that in this business that are going to be up on the roof and crawling around and running conduit and things like that. And so in the state of Tennessee, for a business to operate, depending on what county that you're in, you're going to have city and business license requirements as a basic thing that you're going to need to have. The next thing is if you're going to be a contractor and you're going to do any substantial jobs, particularly state jobs, or I believe jobs over about $25,000 as a turnkey job where that you're not a subcontractor to another contractor, then you're also going to have your contractor's license. And if it's a general contractor, then you'll still need the electrical contractor subbing under that. So you can go over to Tennessee.gov's website and you can find out the actual requirements and the hoops that you have to go through on that, and the different types of licensing that there is in order to legally do business.
Residents, but if you're doing grid-tied photovoltaics, you'll have conduit getting through the residence or across the attic or wherever it's going. So your basic electrical skills, if you're running conduit, of course, then you're getting into sizing wire, how many wires will fit in what size pipe, what type of conduit you should use, the National Electrical Code and all those things. So that's your basic electrician's skill set. But solar goes beyond that. The basic electrician has very little training in DC. They might have a little DC for control work. Some industrial electricians that really get into it may do some DC work on cranes or special motor drives and that type of thing. But solar is much more alive. The sun's moving across the sky. Right now the sun is up about 60 degrees elevation. Your power output is a bell curve of distribution. It starts off real low in the morning, builds to a peak at solar noon, and then falls off. You can have clouds blow across, changing your voltage output or your amperage. So electricians are used to a steady state voltage. They're working on the grid and they've got 240 volt AC split phase, or they got 208 3-phase, whatever it is, and it doesn't vary on them. So we're in a much more circumstances are moving into solar. So you have a whole different skill set there. Also, regarding the sun, of course, you have shading issues, site analysis. A 3 kW system isn't a 3 kW system necessarily. One 3 kW system that is perfectly sited could put out twice the power of a poorly sited 3 kilowatt system. See, people aren't buying 3 kilowatt systems; they're buying electrical production. So that's what they should be doing, and we should be telling them that's what they are doing, because sometimes they don't think of that. So, for example, you're looking at what's the output of that system. Is it going to be 3,000, 4,000 kilowatt hours a year? That's what we're interested in, because with 25-year warranties on the panels, they may run 40, 50 years. We're looking at a lot of production over many, many years. So we want to install efficient systems. They're going to get the most out of the circumstances, the site they're going to be installed in. Sometimes the site isn't appropriate. You need to be able to address that with the customer. It's going to be their decision ultimately, but it's our responsibility to tell them what their solar resource is. You see what they're doing in Germany, putting in whole fields like potatoes or barley or oats and farming that sunlight, pumping it into their village, making themselves more sustainable. Somewhere in here I've got a slide on, this is a inverter factory in Germany. This is a solar panel factory in Massachusetts where they make evergreen panels. You can see working in these places, for those of you who are older, would you rather have your kid working in a place like this or down in a coal mine? I'd rather have mine working in a nice place like this, where they get a little technical training. And of course we've got Hemlock and Wacker coming into the state, and a $1 billion investment in each site. We've got Sharp over in Memphis employing 200 people putting panels together. Responsible design and installation. So, NABCEP skills, all the skill sets I spoke about previously are incorporated into NABCEP. And so that's where you're tested by a third party, rigorous testing to show that you know these skills. And it's a great thing to promote, because we want solar to be successful. It can only be successful if we have knowledgeable installers that are trained and educated in the use of solar. I talk about this a lot too.